Welcome to Rant On.
That's his next cancer, by the way.
Oh my god.
God damn.
I didn't like that one at all.
That one hit a little too close to home, Todd.
Oh,
It's been such a rough day for Geoff too. That was super inconsiderate.
Listen,
was that a little too close to the prostate?
Listen, I was very confused when I got your message this morning about booking my flight. I was like, I'm not going anywhere. And they're like, oh, your queen is sick. And I was like, oh, I did see that.
And then a couple hours later, oh, queen.
Bro, hilarious. Hilarious.
I got
I'm sorry, not hilarious.
It's very
God. No, Jim, you think it's so hilarious to fucking post memes mere hours after?
That was a mild meme. I saw some fucking dank memes.
There's been some bangers in terms of memes today. Did you see the Dwight Angelo one?
Yes.
So I got the notification. I got the notification at like lunch on my watch.
Right.
I just gotta casually like look down.
Person gets a notification.
Oh, please!
Does like
I was
an
in a
alarm
meeting.
go like beep boop beep boop beep?
No, it plays "God Save the Queen." It's like on South Park whenever Ike got the broadcast to all Canadians. They're like, "Open the box."
So the secret protocol thing that you posted in there, I watched something similar to that. Like I don't even know how many years ago now. It's been interesting. It's been interesting, like watching that like unfolds now in real time because like they've got it down to the minute at this point. Like for the next 12 days.
Yeah. So funerals, I think 9 days from now.
Yeah.
I don't think Charles is officially king yet. I think it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow at like 11, he'll be.
And for the first time ever, like a mistress is basically.
That's why she's consort. That's why say that's why she's queen consort, not queen.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I don't think we've actually said the words. Queen Elizabeth II passed away.
Yes.
Today. Also, welcome to Rant On. It's interesting whenever you like hear about this because obviously she was 96 years old. It was.
I thought she was older.
So did I.
I legit thought she was older.
Well, for some reason in my brain, I associated her with like World War One.
Oh no, I didn't think that old.
No, not quite that old. But I mean, so
she was queen for 70 years.
Yeah.
Right, and like the joke, unfortunately, it's like a bad joke at this point. But it's like she just lived out of spite to like make sure that Charles would not be king for very long.
So he was the longest royal in waiting.
Right.
She was the longest monarch. She was coronated when she was like 20?
25.
25. By the way, on Reddit it has like pictures of her throughout the years.
She's a babe.
Hot.
Yeah.
It was hot whenever she first got coronated. Obviously, as a red-blooded American, I didn't really have the same connection to her. My only real like memory of seeing the Queen do a lot was as a child when Princess Diana died.
Oh yeah.
Which apparently was like the royal family was at its lowest like approval rating right after Diana died.
Yeah,
because according to everything, the Queen was very like for the people all the time, but once Diana died, she's like, I'm gonna take care of my family. And that pissed off everybody.
Right.
I was like, how's this happen? And then she made some speech, which I watched today, and like I almost teared up just listening to it because she's like, I understand, talking about the country for a while, and then at one point she goes, as a grandmother. And then I also realized something today that I never realized. Diana wasn't her daughter, it was her daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
I don't know why that never pieced together.
Right,
Charles is her son, and he married Diana. I always thought Diana was the daughter, and Charles was the husband.
No.
I'm not British. Geoff is.
well, I mean, it's I had to explain to my coworkers at work. They're um, like, why do people keep calling you like a Teaboo? Like, why do your friends keep calling you a Teaboo? And I was like, well, it's because I like British stuff so much. Apparently, I'm the resident British person.
Right.
Um,
I'm always interested in like cool political shit, like the weird dynamic between the monarchy and parliament and all that, because right now there's only one absolute monarchy in the world, I think. But I'm sorry, there's only one absolute elected monarchy in the world, and that's Vatican City.
Yeah.
But then you have England, which is an absolute hereditary monarchy with a parliament system. Like, that's fucking weird.
Well, it's a strange time because they literally just
New prime minister this week.
Yeah, this week. In fact, I think she met with her yesterday.
Yesterday or today. Well, I think it was yesterday. What is her name?
Liz Truss.
Liz Truss. She's Labor Party. She's taking over for Boris Johnson. Apparently, she met her yesterday or today, had a good conversation, and then one of her first acts as prime minister is having to walk out and give the speech that no one probably ever wanted to give as the prime minister.
And I apologize. I'm not meaning to correct you, but she's actually for the Conservative Party, not.
Oh, Labor. I thought she was Labor Party. My bad.
No, Labor
was Boris Johnson Labor Party?
No.
Okay.
No, he was Conservative Party.
So they are considered the shortened vernacular, or like slang term is Tory. The Tories.
Okay, I know that term. I never knew the context. Obviously, I'm screwed up in America. We have Democrat, Republican, and they don't mean jack shit anymore. It's now liberal.
Labor Party
is conservative Trumpian and non-Trumpian.
No flake.
Yeah, it's those three.
So the Labor Party is technically considered like the liberal equivalent.
Okay. But yeah, I saw her give the speech. Washington Post put out a good video of how different countries reported it, and you kind of forget how much reach the United Kingdom still has until they put that in context, because it showed England first, obviously, and then it showed, I want to say, Hong Kong or Singapore. One of the two. I assume it was Hong Kong because they used to be like England's baby. And then it was like Australia, Canada, US. Like, oh shit, England's kind of still in charge of most of those countries except for the US. I'm just like, politics are weird, man. But it's just interesting to see how everything reacts. Because again, as far as all of us go in this podcast, Queen Elizabeth has been there since we were kids. She was an old lady when we were kids.
Yeah.
Granted, Diana was, I think, in her 30s when she died. 30s.
Yep.
And she was smoking hot, and she was just like this. Everybody loved her, and she died. And then we've grown up with her children. I think they're near our age, I believe.
So William is like 1982.
Okay. So they're both older than us?
I think Harry might be. I have to think here. 1984. So
I'm going to once again ask you, because I don't really understand. Neither of them are in line for the crown now, correct?
No, William is.
Oh,
so
I heard something like George is next in line.
No,
like,
so what's happening is that Charles is the king now. William is the oldest son who becomes second in line. Then it becomes George. Then it
Okay.
becomes I forget the other kids' names. There's two more kids. Basically, William is now 6th in line at this point. So he used to be third in line, but once William had children, each subsequent child became like the next.
Sorry, I'm on the royal family's website, and I'm just so confused right now. Yeah, okay, that's William. So
it's George, Charlotte, and then
Lewis, and then the Duke of Sussex, which is one of Diana's. Always get their names mixed up. Sorry. It's always it's Harry. Okay, so it's what? So right now it's William, George, Charlotte, Lewis, Harry.
Yeah.
Interesting. It's just such top of mind. I'm sorry that this whole podcast so far has been about that. We can talk about other kinds of kings, though.
Oh,
Rings of Power.
So
I feel good about that one.
Really trying to get that out, aren't you?
Look, I
What
just want to hear what they have to say about it because it's not hitting for me.
So Jim, you've only seen the first episode.
See,
And I've only seen the first episode.
Okay, so I'll try to keep everything tight for the first episode because I've seen both.
Oh yeah. Before you do that, so you're obviously saying that to avoid spoilers. My
Right.
gut reaction was to say, "Well, the books are already written." I'm incorrect. I'm incorrect by saying that because this is an original story, correct?
In part. So basically,
like
they
the Star
took
Wars books, how they kind of tangentially lead into it, but not really.
No, so like foundationally speaking, it takes its root from the appendices of the books. And I think a smidge of the Silmarillion, because I
a little
don't
bit
know
of the Silmarillion, a little bit of Children of Hurin, and
What's that one?
The Children of Hurin?
I've never heard of that.
So that's during it's a newer book. It came out posthumously.
Okay.
And it is in the Second Age. It takes place then. And even there's a new book that comes out, I believe, this month. That's The Fall of Numenor. That is also around the same time frame as the show.
When you say Second Age,
so Second Age, so if you look at Lord of the Rings, that is the Third Age, essentially.
Okay.
So Third Age, and then it leads right up into the Fourth Age. So like right when Sauron falls, that's the end of the Third Age.
Okay, so this is my base understanding from watching the first episode. We don't have any media of the First Age, correct?
First Age is very much like
Silmarillion, right?
Yeah, that's like basically the forming of the entire world, and it gets like very strange.
So it's the genesis of the Bible. It's just the story.
Well, essentially, to a degree. So there's, God,
I love making. Type walk over spoilers and.
It's not tight walking over spoilers. There's so much.
Yeah.
That would I can't even begin to tell you where I should start. So suffice to say, there's basically gods, for lack of a better term, that kind of form the earth. It's very similar in essence to there's a pantheon of gods and goddesses that form the world.
So we talking Greek Roman type pantheon?
More closer to Norse ish.
So drunks.
But no, more elegant, I would say. It's basically I'm not a scholar of the First Age. And in fact, the Silmarillion to me was very difficult to read.
It's reading like a religious text.
Right. It's suffice to say, Rings of Power overall takes place in the Second Age. You get to see basically the predecessor to Sauron, who is Morgoth.
Morgoth.
Okay,
Morgoth.
I've heard that name so far. I've watched
Oh,
one
can
episode.
I say one thing real quick?
Sure.
It's starting to become apparent, but basically every single name, place, and battle are all now metal band names.
Well,
They're all taken at this point.
I'm looking at this map on Wikipedia, and I'm 99% sure. Isn't Rohan the name of like some kind of kaiju?
Rodan is what you're thinking
Rodan.
of.
Okay, sorry, that's my bad.
My friend's kid's name is Rohan.
That's cool. Like named after.
Yeah, 100% named after. Their second kid is named Elrond.
Token.
Their second kid's name is Elrond.
Okay.
So
Elrond
basically, just this is a short, like very brief summary.
Uh-huh.
There's creation.
Okay.
The Valar is basically like the creation, like species, if that makes sense. They are the pantheon. You then have kind of a dissenter, Melkor, destroys 2 lamps, which then creates the continents of Aman and Middle Earth. And then the pantheon moves to Aman. So basically, if you think about it, if you look at the map of Middle Earth, there's Middle Earth, the main continent, and then Valinor and Aman are technically on the far left, like way the fuck over on the far left.
Oh, yeah. This map is not helpful. I hate to
What's-
say
It doesn't.
What's
It doesn't
the
really
name?
exist anymore.
It's sunk into the ocean, right?
That's Numenor.
That's Numenor.
I
Oh,
was about
that's
to say,
Numenor. Yeah.
Do we have fucking Atlantis here too?
That is essentially what Numenor is.
Oh
So
my god.
in the Second Age, spoilers, Numenor exists as like a continent essentially,
Okay.
and eventually by the Third Age, it is gone.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's the 2 trees of Valinor, which they actually showed in the first episode.
Mhm.
Is that the
is-
one that was like bright and shiny, and then it went?
Yeah.
dark?
It's
So
it's
that
the sun and the
basically
moon,
is
basically.
yeah, it's the light of the world essentially. You have the awakening of the elves, and very briefly they touch upon Melkor, aka Morgoth, stealing the
Mordor?
Silmarils.
Oh.
And the Silmarils are they're basically jewelry. It's basically the light of the 2 trees, like in jewelry form. There's 3 of them. So they're like really highly sought and rare.
Interesting. Okay.
Then you get the Ungoliant, who is basically like a giant spider. Kills the 2 trees of Valinor.
Which they did not touch on in the show, which was a
Correct.
little bit of a bummer.
Correct. You then get to the first stage. Elves fight Morgoth.
Right.
And then Morgoth goes away. And so they very quickly, in the show, they quickly turn to Sauron. Who
Right. That was kind of confusing to me.
That's not quite like accurate. Like Sauron was there and Sauron was the servant, but he definitely was not as powerful as he was later on.
Okay.
So basically, if you think about him right now, he's just like a very clever illusionist. Like he can disguise himself very well, and in fact, he's called Sauron the Deceiver because his anytime he appears, he does not appear as Sauron like you know him as.
Got it. Okay.
So
I want to hold on one second.
Sure.
Andrew,
Hello.
what is your level of knowledge or care or experience with Lord of the Rings?
So, Lord of the Rings. I know the Fellowship of the Ring,
Uh-huh.
the Two Towers,
Uh-huh.
the Return of the King, and then I had Lord of the Rings Risk.
Oh,
Hell yeah.
I still have that.
so in comparison.
Hmm?
Oh, wait. Hobbit movies?
So actually never watched the Hobbit movies. I was kind of like, I don't know if I really want to do that. However, while I was on that road trip to Michigan, I think we were in the hotel at St. Louis, and there was, I think it was the first Hobbit movie playing on one of those premium channels. I just
Mhm.
sat and watched, and I was like, okay, this actually is better than I thought it was.
Okay.
So
It's so like in terms of the movies, like the Hobbit films aren't atrocious.
yeah,
I
no, I
will
thought they were
say
atrocious.
no. Like a lot of people compare them to Lord of the Rings on like I would say an unfair um like just unfair comparisons.
I mean, that's also what happened with Star Wars.
Right.
I would have
Now
said like it's been like unnecessary cash grab in what I was thinking, you know?
well, and it kind of is, right? Because if you look at like the fact that it's 3 movies for such a very small book,
Yeah.
there's a lot of kind of expansion that they did, which is canonically correct to a degree, because
Okay.
there's periods where Gandalf just like runs off to go do shit, and that's never explained what he does in The Hobbit.
Oh,
So
like he
the
just goes off on adventures and leaves?
kind of like he's like it's so you can tell like there's something like urgent happening, but it's never like properly explained in the vein of The Hobbit. Now in the appendices and things like that, there's a little bit more expansion, like, oh, this is kind of what he was doing, like he was dealing with the necromancer, aka Sauron, etc.
Okay.
But they kind of took and they were like, okay, well, we need to kind of, I want to say filler content, but that's kind of what it turned into. They added kind of like new story elements to the Hobbit story to like fill out everything overall.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense now because Gandalf seemed pretty useful and seems like he kind of cheat codes his way through a lot of stuff. He would have been very useful in a lot of these conflicts.
Yeah.
But
So
also like I shared a video with y'all a couple weeks ago in preparation. One of my favorite creators on YouTube, CGP Grey, is a Lord of
yeah,
the Rings nerd, and he made a couple videos about Lord of the Rings lore, and I still don't get it. Let me be clear, I do not understand. Uh, Somehow Gandalf is kind of an angel,
yeah,
kind of, and so is that evil lava rock monster.
the Balrog. Yeah.
Yeah,
Balrog, yeah.
that thing. They're kind of related.
Fly, you
Um.
fools.
So Gandalf is technically one of the Maiar, and that's M
Right.
A
That's the word. Or yeah. Or
yeah
Maiar.
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 I may be mispronouncing that, so I apologize if that's the case. But basically, um, kind of servants of the Valar, if that helps.
It kind of
Um,
does, yeah.
they're basically supposed to be, um, so according to Tolkien, they're spirits whose being also began before the worlds, of the same order of the Valar, but of less degree. They also associated themselves with generally a particular part of the pantheon. Like, it's hard to go into like what that pantheon is. Um, but essentially, they're kind of helping shape the world. They're kind of like the servants of the Valar in certain degrees,
Okay.
because eventually, like the Valar just doesn't exist after a certain period. Like they just kind of yeet out. They're done after a certain period in time.
Uh,
So, but like the Valar specifically sent 5 to Middle Earth to help contest Sauron. So those were eventually known as the Istari, or wizards. Gandalf the Grey, Saruman,
Uh-huh.
Radagast the Brown, which was in
He was
the
the
Hobbit movies,
he was the foresty guy, right?
right? And then there's two blue wizards.
Why are they blue?
Who they're named after their sea blue robes.
Okay.
They are kind of just mentioned in passing. They never appear like in the narratives, like anywhere. They're not even like they're basically they're kind of out in the outer worlds, but you never learn anything else about them. We don't even know their names.
Which one is Count Dooku?
Saruman.
Okay. He was the bad wizard, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Started out good.
Started out good. He was the
okay.
leader. He was basically the leader of the wizard councils. But eventually he became seduced by the power that Sauron has. So
Kind of
he's
like
not
how
necessar-
Sauron was with Morgoth.
correct.
Continuing this line of question. What did the colors mean?
The colors.
Gandalf the gray, Sauron the white.
Oh,
like a
there's
class?
Saruman the white.
No, there's not necessarily a reasoning for like what the color. So like Saruman, for instance,
He was white.
actually not necessarily. He was referred to Saruman of many colors.
Oh.
So
Gandalf was gray.
correct.
Then he died.
Correct.
And then he came back as white.
Yeah.
Because according to
basically,
Tolkien, white is right.
He was taking his. He was taking the place of the like natural good wizard that Saruman used to be. It was like it's like to balance the scales, essentially.
I'm getting some George Lucas Force things in my brain now. Is that a coincidence?
Well, keep in mind, like this was written well before.
This is 30s, right?
The Hobbit was 39.
Closer to 50s.
So World War II.
The Lord of the Rings.
That general time.
So,
So
Tolkien was World War I.
Borrowing an idea. No way. Impossible.
The Hobbit was first publicized in 1937.
Okay.
Yeah, so but like Lord of the Rings specifically, it took a long time for him to write. So we're talking like mid 40s, early 50s is when it was like first published.
Oh. I'm just trying to learn because again, like I told y'all as just our friendly conversations, I watched Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, never watched Return of the King,
which is arguably the best.
Watched The Hobbit, and then watched Desolation of Smaug.
You never watched Battle of the Five Armies?
Never watched Battle of the Five Armies.
That's okay.
Desolation of Smaug is my favorite one out of all the movies.
Like
and then I played Shadow of War.
So kind of going back to like just Rings of Power, because there's always going to be a comparison between this and the Jackson films, because Jackson, for better or worse, he defines the visual interpretation of what Middle Earth would be,
right,
to an extent, with Alan Lee, and I always forget the other. Oh, John Howe. John Howe is the other one.
Jim, were there black people in the Peter Jackson movies?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, were they? That's a serious question. It was not bait, because I heard controversy when Rings of Power was coming out that they were putting black people in it. I was
the technically there's in the third movie specifically, there is basically I'm trying to think of mercenaries who were from like the southern kingdoms, so like way like just deep, right? Happened to be black. Because they were mercenaries, they were hired to be part of like
Sauron's
army, essentially.
Oh no.
So like, yeah, it's the right. It's like it's not a good look, essentially. Mechanically correct though. So the big controversy in this one is that there is a black elf.
He's cool.
He is pretty cool.
Bad
So
fucking ass, yeah.
taking kind of a step back before we get to him, I
Okay.
want to say the production quality in the show is amazing.
The music is incredible.
The music is incredible. I really enjoyed the music is very critical for me in general. So they got Howard Shore, who did the original score for Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. He did the theme song, which you do not hear until episode 2, because there's
Oh.
actually like an opening like title sequence in episode 2. They got Bear McCreary to do the actual score, who also did the score for God of War, which I loved. So already it's like amazing. I love that. The production quality is great. When do the dragons appear?
Are there dragons in Lord of the Rings?
There sure are.
Yeah.
Oh, smart.
They're in.
I'm stupid.
They're
Well,
in the first
Hobbit.
episode.
Yeah, they're in the first episode. And that opening sequence against Morgoth,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
that's there. So, I did want to touch a little bit upon like the overall story, because you've got basically, I want to say like 3 different stories happening at once. You got Galadriel,
Uh-huh.
you've got the southern kingdom with the black elf essentially, and like the people who were mercenaries for Morgoth. And then you have the Harfoots, which are the predecessors to hobbits.
Okay.
It's okay. I'm not sitting here. So first off, when I watched this episode, I basically made a conscious decision that I was not going to A, try to compare it to the Jackson films, and B, like I was just gonna try to just detach myself and just enjoy it as a show. And I think that helped a lot. Because
That's
unfortunately
what
a lot of
everybody should
people,
do, because it's oh my God.
it's its own thing, right?
Right.
And unfortunately a lot of people didn't, and they are just fucking,
I mean, it's
everyone's
hard to.
complaining about it.
It's really hard to.
I get it.
If you think about every bit of Star Wars media come out over the last 30 years, they have to live up to, I mean,
Yeah.
cinema classics at this point.
Yeah,
And I would
that's
consider
fair.
Lord of the Rings trilogy a cinema classic. Maybe just because I don't really enjoy them.
Right.
Does not take away from the fact that they are considered some of the best movies ever made.
Right.
But then you have the Hobbit movies that are universally like, I'm not even gonna say bad. I'm just gonna say meh. It's hard to continue to compare because they want redemption.
We've talked about that kind of in passing. Peter Jackson, the fact that those 3 movies exist is a testament to him as a filmmaker being able to take like what he's been given and turn something out.
Right.
But I will say, like, the production quality, music, visuals, the weapons, the armor, everything was so gorgeous, and it just looked beautiful. And the visual language is there. The guy who, one of the concept artists I was talking about, John Howe, worked on this as well. So there's a lot of they are able to take a lot of the visual language that Lord of the Rings had and kind of insert it into this, so it's kind of cohesive. I don't know. I enjoyed the overall story so far. I thought the Harfoots were pretty cool.
I think I need to rewatch it, to be honest.
And that's
Like
fine.
my ADD like does not prevent me from just sitting down and watching.
There's a
videos.
lot happening. There's a lot
And
happening.
I think that's what hurt me because like I didn't really understand that there were 3 different stories going on.
Right.
And I still didn't get some stuff near the end, and I don't know if it was explained and my brain just didn't process it. Elves are immortal, correct?
They are.
Immortal in the sense that they live forever, but they are not like you can be killed.
They can be killed, but don't they come back to that other place across the water?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
No. So, and Jim, you might correct me if I'm wrong here. So Valinor is where Galadriel was originally from. Like that's
Right,
where she lived.
That's their
Mhm.
home. Right.
Correct. So, and I think they're called the Undying Lands at this point,
Right.
if I'm not mistaken. So they moved to Middle Earth.
To chase down the bad guy, right?
Correct.
Okay.
So if you think of it this way, they go back to Valinor kind of like Valhalla. But if you pass away, you're done. Like you don't go anywhere essentially.
So if they're killed in battle, they're dead.
Yeah, that's why it's such like a big deal that Galadriel's like brother dies.
Okay. And I don't know. I assume they probably talked about that for the rings. For Eternal, I just thought they lived a long time, not eternal. I
Yeah.
didn't really understand the story at first. My now understanding is this girl got a grudge that she just can't get out of her brain.
Yeah.
She goes on a mission, gets fucking mutinied like a fucking pirate.
Yeah.
But then to cover it all up, they're like, "You're going back home."
Yeah,
That's all I remember.
because basically at this point in the story, they're in a time of peace, and that is where they want to stay. They don't want to fucking think, oh, the enemy is still out there, blah blah blah. They just want to move on and just kind of ignore it because at this
I hate to do this comparison, but is it similar to like the Starks always being like, "Winter's coming," and everybody else is like, "Shut the fuck up! We're trying to enjoy our lives."
pretty much. That's not an unfair comparison.
Like,
So that's basically what's happened. There's like, hey, we're at peace. Let's just rebuild. Like we need to just move on. We dealt with the enemy. The enemy is gone. And Galadriel is just like, that's not accurate, and it's not, in fact. So
right.
this Celebrimbor is introduced in this.
I know him
episode.
from the video game.
Do you understand like fundamentally like what the rings do that he later forges?
Kind of. My understanding was there's like a couple Uber rings, and then there's a bunch of little ones.
So technically, there's 3 rings for the elves,
right? And then everybody else gets like the other ones. Was it 7 of them?
So those 3 rings allow the elves to basically shape their worlds. Basically, they get to, if you think about it this way, they get to like activate cheat mode and kind of like build grand things and
they
structures.
Get to use the gazillions cheat in the Sims. Is that what you're trying
Kind
to say?
of like they get to like basically rebuild Valinor to a certain degree within Middle Earth.
Okay.
When you remove those rings and all the power that's associated with it, all of that just goes away. Like it just disappears. So if you think about like all the power that was created with that, it's now gone. Which is why it's such a large deal that Sauron eventually seizes control of a bunch of these. Because remember, these rings also went to the dwarves.
Right.
They also went to
The
men.
human.
Right. And so they kind of are using the same thing. They're using this power to create things and build things. But in doing so, Sauron, when he creates that one ring, it's allowing him to take kind of control of everything that they've built and subjugate
Oh,
all of the people under that because they're basically tied to that power.
wow. I'm stupid. I just now understand the rule all. Sorry, I cut out there. I kind of now just understand the one ring to rule them all.
Yeah.
My
To be
very loose
fair,
understanding was because he had that one Omega ring, he was like sapping like energy or something from the races.
he kind of is, but if you think about like an enchantment on the other rings, right?
Right.
They're basically bound through Sauron because he helped forge all of those rings.
Right.
So he poured a little bit of his power into each of those rings. And
Are
because
you
of
saying Horcrux?
kind of
No, it's everything. It's all the nerd franchises together.
well, Horcrux is different though, because that's like your soul
A
and
piece
that
of your
allows you
soul.
to yeah.
Okay, that makes
So
more sense. So,
yeah,
which ring did Frodo find? The ultra
he
powerful one,
he has the one ring.
which is drawn the way it was built, always draws back to Sauron, correct?
Yes, but it can only also ever be used by Sauron. Like there's no way for anyone besides Sauron to actually like use its full potential.
Right, but
So
I'm
that's
saying the
why
abilities built into it are all made to get advantage to the person wearing it to bring it back to Sauron, correct?
yeah, it's a sentient thing essentially. Like it has a
Okay.
mind and its one drive is to trick you and to always get back to its master.
And that's what happened to what's his face.
Gollum. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that makes more sense. So Kellen Brimbor is in Rings of Power. He
Yep.
has not forged them yet,
No.
is my understanding.
No, you're starting to see um in the first episode like the very beginnings of why he's there.
Okay, I heard his name mentioned. I was like, oh, I recognize this name from Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor,
Yeah.
which is a fantastic game. If you've never played it, you should. Because I believe you kind of play as him partially. If I remember right.
You're basically taking his spirit and
Yeah.
it's merged with the player of Talion.
Yeah, so it's interesting starting. I'm like, oh, I was kind of messaging the group as I was watching it, just because that's the only way I can keep my mind occupied. Mostly making jokes about that one guy's name that's L. Ron Hubbard. I'm like, that's Scientology. And then, but then I heard a name I recognized. I was like, well, that's okay. There we go. That's my only string that I've found so far, to my recollection series.
Yeah,
So it's interesting to hear so much about it. It's like whenever you think about it, that's what 11 hours worth of media if you don't watch the extended cuts between the 6 movies.
Yeah.
Oh, and you gotta watch the extended cuts.
No, never.
I mean, the extended cuts are actually just it's hard for me to I cannot tell you the difference between the theatrical cut and the extended cut now because I only ever watched the extended cut.
I just remember
It's necessary.
Oh, is it? Okay. Does it give you? Is it fluff or is it like actual information?
Actual information.
It's not just actual information. It's just it'll allow them to expand different things as much as like it's a simple thing like in Fellowship of the Ring, but like by the time the Third Age is starting to end, elves are like they're leaving, like they're leaving Middle Earth because their power is starting to fail, essentially.
Right. Okay.
And they're just like we're done. We're headed back home, essentially.
They're heading back to the place with the lights up.
and basically Return of the King theatrical edition is really the first time you see that happen. In Fellowship of the Ring extended edition, they have just a small scene where it's Frodo and Sam. They're leaving the Shire for the first time, and they just happen to see elves just walking through the forest, just leaving.
Which is accurately portrayed in the. It's from the book.
Right.
Mhm.
And like
It's right before they meet Tom Bombadil.
Exactly. But there's also like a small scene where they get to see the trolls from The Hobbit, like frozen,
Oh,
which I don't recall if that was in the book or not.
Yeah, it's in the book.
Yeah. But they basically just were able to take those smaller moments from the book that aren't necessarily like, lore shattering, but it just basically expands.
but it helped.
Yeah, it does. It makes you more invested.
From
I
my
just-
perspective, it's like reading the book from it.
I'm sorry, you were cutting out there a little bit.
My perspective, it's like reading the manga compared to an anime.
Yeah.
Andrew, how you doing, buddy?
So there's trees and elves
Yeah,
and
wait, trees walk
I
in
got it.
these,
Dragons.
right? Dragons. Now, at what point does like Sam and Frodo just start sucking each other off?
The end of the third movie.
Into the third movie,
Which
Well,
you
that's
haven't
the-
seen.
That's the
Bricks in
Kevin
Frodo's
Smith
mouth.
cut.
Yeah,
Which you just haven't seen, Todd.
He says,
like a
"Oh,
month
what a
ago.
wonderful tea party."
No, he says, "Bless my little hobbit feet, Mr. Frodo. I never knew you were this good."
Oh. Oh.
Oh.
Can I start my rant?
Oh, by all means.
Uh-oh, we're
Alright.
gonna flip that switch. Rant is off.
Alright.
Rant is on.
Okay. So
air horns.
all these people that are all salty about there being a black elf, about there being a black hobbit, and and look, racists have always gravitated towards Tolkien's work. They just always have.
Right.
It's so ingrained, and it's because, and it's a bad look for sure, but they're so surface level with their racism. It's insane. But because darker skinned people were considered like outsiders, and they were considered less than. They were orcs. They were bad people or bad entities in some instances. But that wasn't taken into consideration when Tolkien was writing these books. It
Right.
wasn't a race thing. It was literally like a light versus dark thing. And has that perception changed? Of course it has. The Hobbit was written in 1937. It was a very different time. But that's what they've held on to, and they're sticking with it. And their big complaints are always like, well, the book doesn't do this, the book doesn't say this, in the book there isn't that. So where were you then when Fellowship of the Ring came out and Frodo was a older teenager while doing the journey, when in the book he was literally 55, I think, 55
What?
years old.
He's closer to 16.
Yeah.
What?
Remember when Gandalf goes there for Bilbo's 11th birthday
Yeah.
in the movie? From then to when Frodo leaves is like a day, right?
Yeah.
In the book, it's 30 years.
Yep.
What?
It's 30 years.
So,
Why aren't they freaking out about that?
So
So-
Gandalf shows up, they hang out for 30 years, and then start their quest?
So
No.
so Gandalf kind of comes and goes during that 30 years.
Okay.
I think he shows up like every 11 years or so.
Right.
And yeah, and then that's when they go on their way. They're all Frodo, Sam, Merry, Pippin. They're all in their 50s when they're making this journey.
Right.
Where is your complaint then? Why aren't you freaking out on message boards complaining about that?
Yeah, because basically there's an entire like the 30-year period is basically Frodo just like living his life as the
Just living
master
his normal ass life.
of Bag End.
Mhm.
Gandalf occasionally comes in, checks in to see how he's doing.
Yep.
Now, it's important to note the ring itself leads to longevity, like longer life,
Yes.
while you're still the owner of that ring. So his appearance is not that of 50 years old. Essentially, he still looks very young.
He
for
looks
his
like he's
age.
in his 30s. Yeah.
Right. So, but there's like a whole thing. I mean, there's an entire thing in the movie where they completely overlook is like the journey from them like leaving the Shire takes like weeks.
Yeah.
Like they leave, they go to the old
It's
forest and like
Fellowship of the Ring. Half the book is them just getting out of the Shire.
Yeah.
It's just it's like why pick this? Why pick that as your argument? Oh, black people, cool man. Like who really gives a shit? And it's racists give a shit, and so you can't make your argument. Oh, I'm not racist, but no, bro. There's no but. There's no but. There's no but. It's the same people that say, "Oh, James Bond can't be a black guy because in the book it was this." Who gives a shit?
I think
Why does that matter so much?
It's open to modern interpretation. I mean,
that's the thing. Like, do people adamantly and vehemently steam out of their nostrils about the movie The Wiz and how it's not accurate to the book of The Wizard of Oz? Why is it that?
There's always going to be complaints. Like, it's kind of like Obi-Wan. I didn't really care for the show by the end of it. I didn't enjoy it. But it's not because, for the most part, they had a person of color be this big villain. I thought the actress was great. The writing was terrible. It made her very one note, and that's why she was just.
And if that's your complaint, then I respect and I admire that that's your complaint about the show. Because I have my complaints about the show too. I am afraid that they're going to introduce way too many characters way too quickly, and they're going to rush everything.
I already feel that though.
And so do I, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong.
Give me 2 of the 3 stories. I'd be okay.
So the second episode, just very briefly, no spoilers at all. It does introduce kind of a 4th story thread, but it's very related to one of the other threads.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a companion piece.
Okay.
That being said, it just keeps going with those 3 stories. Like you pick up where it's led. So the end of the first episode has a meteor that goes across the sky.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That Gandalf?
Everyone pretty much says that's Gandalf. Here's where the overall problem.
It's not Superman? That's not Superman in the field? We're not in Kansas.
Here's the overall problem with the story and how they're doing it right now. They are obviously nothing's going to be 100% faithful to the original
nothing
story
ever
structure,
is,
and that's completely fine. There are some important things to note by this. Galadriel at this point is already married in the appendices.
Huh?
Mm-hmm.
By the time she moves to Middle Earth, she's already married to someone else. In fact, she already has a kid. No. Celeborn, I think is his name. Not Celebrimbor.
That's confusing. I don't like that.
I know. Well, this is where it gets even more confusing.
Oh, dude, Tolkien was not great at names.
So they actually have a kid by this point who eventually marries Elrond.
Hubbard.
So yeah, big chin. So yeah, essentially Galadriel is that dude's
Ew.
mother-in-law.
Ew.
Another
That's
thing.
Grooming.
That's the royal family in a nutshell, man.
That's Bashoka Tensei.
Well, they're not related. You realize that Elrond and like Galadriel, they're not related. They're just friends.
Oh,
So-
okay. So if you have a child and I groom her into sleeping with me, that's still pretty wrong.
I agreed,
Well-
but that's how it was done back then, dude.
That I
Queen
don't
is
disagree.
dead. We're changing things.
I don't disagree with you, but like
No, I definitely don't disagree with you either.
I think like the elf like lifespan thing is like
It
they
changes.
live for so long that like young and olds and like oh, that person's too young for you type thing, it doesn't quite like matter to them as much.
Pedophiles are gonna start saying
I'm
they're from
I'm
Lore.
500 years old, and she's 150. Oh, that's
You sick.
oh,
fuck.
you sick fucker.
Right.
Can I say something else?
Yeah.
Okay. So the other thing that I hear, besides the race thing, like, oh, they're trying to feminazi Galadriel. She's too butch. She's too like she just is like going into battle, and the way people were freaking out of the way she was sitting on the cover of the Empire magazine came out, and they're just like she's a powerful, beautiful queen. Blah 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 blah. Like, okay, so you're complaining about that. Okay, fine. So are you mad that they completely got wrong how Finrod is killed?
Right.
Where's the outrage to that?
Sorry. Is that her brother?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
That's not how he dies. Again, I don't give a shit because that's just the way they're telling the story. But again, where is your outrage there? They're just cherry picking what they can be outraged about. And it's like, and these are the same people who freak out about cancel culture, and it drives me insane.
Are you talking about the Empire magazine where she's kind of like crouched sitting?
Yeah, she's got
her legs
they're
spread?
like she's sitting not ladylike.
She's sitting like a dude. Yeah. I got it. Okay, I was curious.
Which I just want to point out just real briefly. I don't mean to interrupt.
Uh-huh.
The girl that plays her does a really good job.
Yes, she does.
I've never seen her before in my life, but she's really cool.
I don't recognize anybody, and I'm happy about that. Oh,
I recognize some people. The dude who plays Elrond was young Ned Stark in Game of Thrones.
Oh, so he's my favorite character so far.
But then this is the best callback I've got. The guy who plays Gilgalad, the high elf dude that like runs everything,
the king
was Abraham Lincoln in Abraham Lincoln versus Vampires.
Oh, Vampire Hunter.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've only ever read that book. I've never seen the movie.
Mega hit to another.
Right. Like, I haven't seen him since that movie, but he just like popped up in this, and I was like, damn, look at you coming all like, yeah. But besides that, I agree. Like that's I think a great thing. They cast a bunch of relatively unknown people,
and that's the way. I like it.
That also helps people like bond with the characters.
Yes, and I'm not like, oh, that's, I don't know, that's Brad Pitt. I'm just trying to think of something that like.
Aside from Sean Bean and maybe what's his face that played Tyrion Lannister, there weren't really any stars in Game of Thrones, right?
There were.
Lena Headey had been in a few things, obviously, but
Lena Headey was in a lot of stuff,
right? But
like the first season is for sure comprised of a bunch of people that are not typical
Right.
like
They were big in
British
English
royalty.
theater.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
they're definitely
Yeah.
like on a smaller scale.
And I was
But
about to
did
say,
they blow
also-
up after? Oh,
Yeah.
of course they did.
Well, to be fair, also, now that I think about it, similar to Harry Potter, a majority of the cast were children when it
Yes.
started, which helps.
Yes. Yeah, but for like starting with Harry Potter 1, they had a bunch of like big name British people.
I mean,
Like
oh my god, I just blanked on his name. Nate. Alan Rickman. Sorry.
Alan Rickman.
And obviously, McGonagall was a very famous actor. Don't remember her name either. God, Maggie Smith.
Maggie Smith, but then like you also had Fiona Shaw, John
Who?
Hurt.
I don't know who either of those are though. That's
You
why.
don't know. You know who John Hurt is. You'll like if you look him up, you'll know who he is.
Is it John?
Yeah.
He died recently, right?
Did he?
Last year, no,
Yeah.
2017.
2017.
So
That's right.
So he was an alien.
I never watched it.
Oh man,
That's where
Of
you're
Alien.
gonna start running into problems.
For Vendetta?
Alien,
Did you watch
What?
V for Vendetta?
That's a Natalie Portman movie, right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think I did at some point.
So he was like the main villain in that.
I don't remember the villain. I don't remember the story of the movie at all. I just know those masks became really popular. He was in Spaceballs?
Probably.
I forgot about that.
Is this Romeo Juliet as in Leonardo DiCaprio one? Nope, it's not.
No, he was
No,
in a
it's-
bunch of very older stuff.
This is 1990, so I was kind of
Yeah,
Make a
see, he was
guess.
like 60s, 80s, and then 90s to a certain degree.
he was in the Tigger movie.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Oh, he's Ollivander.
Yes, he is Ollivander.
Oh, which means he was in like maybe 2 of the movies.
He was in at least 2. He was in the first one, and he was in the.
He's in
last one.
Hellboy. I never watched those, but I know of it. He was in some movie called Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Never heard of it.
The best one.
Oh, fuck you.
I honestly. Oh, all right. I found the movie that I recognize him from. He's the guy in fucking Snowpiercer. God.
There you go.
Oh, he is in Snowpiercer. Yeah.
He's the hobo dude.
Mhm.
We finally got there.
Oh, by the way, Harry Potter or not Harry Potter sequel, Willy Wonka sequel, near Snowpiercer. Okay. I will always.
I love that movie. I've never seen the show, but I love that movie.
I heard the show was actually good.
I think Alyssa watched it. I think she liked it.
I listening to y'all two's made me want to rewatch the episode again.
Well, so that's what I'm going to tell you. If you like, feel free to watch the first one. I felt like the first one was very much, and this is always going to be the case. It's just a vomit of exposition, right?
Yep.
It's just like, yeah, we're setting the set pieces up. Here's this character. Here's that character.
And
I feel like
those episodes like hurt.
They
my
do.
brain.
The second episode, I feel like, does a lot better because now you've already got the characters established. Now you're just following them down the path.
Gotcha.
Jim, I'm going to tell you right now, I think you're going to like the horror vibes of the second episode.
Oh yeah, dude! If you fucking give me horror Tolkien, that's it. I'm done.
The orcs become legitimately scary.
I'm literally wearing a T-shirt that says Orc Storm and has a bunch of orcs on it.
Oh, sorry, football's back. I'm excited. Would you recommend Jim and Geoff? Would y'all recommend this show to somebody that's not even a Lord of the Rings fan?
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't see why not. If you liked you like Game of Thrones, if you like fantasy in any capacity, I'd say check it out. Will you become like, me like us and like know all this stuff about Tolkien and have the collection of the books? Probably not, but you get a good Friday show out of it.
I think
And
it's
the good thing
also
is
confusing.
It's gonna be bingeable at some point.
Oh, can I tell you the thing I hate the most about the show so far, though?
Yeah.
Oh no.
This is a fucking. Are you ready for the hot take?
Oh great.
I hate more than anything in the world Elrond's hair. It's truly awful. And here's the thing: my favorite part of that first episode, and this is definitely not spoiling because I'm not going to talk about what they talk about, but that scene where it's just Elrond and Galadriel and they're talking, that, and because I love dialogue, that scene was the best scene on the first episode, in my opinion. Just because I thought it was really powerful, where she's like, I've seen some things, and he's like, I've seen some things too, like, but his hair is stupid as fuck.
Man, speaking of stupid as fuck, I didn't remember that Elrond is the guy from the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yes.
Ooh. Because I googled Elrond because I was like, his hair was
this
like
is
very 80s heartthrobish.
Yeah, it's not cool like Mr. Anderson.
Right.
That's what it is. Okay, that's who he is. Sorry, I was trying to place it in my brain.
Yep.
Also, the first time I saw Galadriel, I thought it was Dolores from Westworld, Evan Rachel Wood. I was like,
no, her name is
and Galadriel's
Clark.
in Lord of the Rings. You know that, right? The movies.
Is she the blonde lady?
Yes.
Yeah, Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. Yep.
Oh, that makes sense.
It's starting to all come together.
It's starting to come together.
Look, you got to keep in mind they live long. So that's
cool. I watched those movies once.
So
I think it was near release date because it was like the dawn of DVDs. And
this might. Do you, Todd? Do you know who Isildur is?
You're speaking gibberish to me.
I like that you say it correctly, Geoff.
Thanks, man.
Did you say a seal door?
It's Isildur. Like there's a space, but it's not Isildur.
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 That guy looks
so that
cool.
name doesn't probably mean a bunch to you, Todd. Jim, do you know that he's supposed to appear in this season?
Really?
Yeah, just think about that for a second.
Is the oldest son of some name I can't pronounce.
Well, he's the
brother to another name I can't announce. He and that one name founded and jointly ruled Gondor in the south.
Yep. He is just full context.
Spoilers, he cut off somebody's hand.
Yes.
Not spoilers, because the movie where you meet him came out a long time ago.
It's not.
So he is this.
He's
a
born
son
in the
of the
second
king.
age, right?
I think so.
Which is where Rings of Power is. So that
makes sense. But what I'm trying to get at is that there's a lot to yet happen, and the age that he is appearing right now is kind of throwing me off.
Wait, are we time skipping?
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to take a century's worth of battles and wars and turn them into one long thing. I mean, Galadriel, Aragorn is a descendant of Numenor, and that's where Isildur is from. He was born in Numenor, which is no longer a fucking place on the map. So.
Oh, I guess that is true. Which they're known for longer life.
Mm-hmm. So, they're half elves.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That makes.
They're half human, half elves.
I was confused because that dude just looked like a dude.
Isildur. So yep, there's a lot of mystery. Potentially Gandalf is. That's the thing that's throwing me off though, because Gandalf is not supposed to yet arrive until the Third Age.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that's
But
the
they
only
haven't.
reason
But
why.
okay, well, let me ask you a question. So, with us only have seen the first episode, is that confirmed, or is that still a mystery in the show? Three episodes in.
That's still a mystery.
Okay.
That's why I can say that I have not spoiled anything at all, because it is still a mystery.
So then,
and
is it Saruman? Because
Mm,
Saruman was in the Second Age.
Maybe. I mean, it's all conjecture at this point. Like, we're not
Yes,
gonna
exactly.
probably at the end of the season we're gonna finally know who this guy is.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'd recommend it. I think it was good.
All right.
Um,
Any final thoughts on Rings of Power, Lord of the Rings?
It's too early to decide if it sucks or not, I think. And it's just the fact that like Amazon has had to put a 3-day wait period before people can start review
Yeah.
bombing it, like it just drives me crazy. Like, and it's such a bummer that like this I love fantasy. I love everybody knows the kind of music that I like, but just it seems to radiate like undertones of racism, and it fucking sucks.
I mean, yeah, that
I-
makes sense because even like if you think about his contemporary,
He
Narnia
went on
dude-
record saying how much he hated racism.
Yeah,
He
apparently,
went
like,
on record. He lived during Nazis, and he talked about how much he fucking hated Nazis.
It's so
So-
funny because like when you think about his contemporary C.S. Lewis and how like Lewis was just like, this is Christian propaganda, just hidden. And
Yeah.
in comparison, you see Tolkien's work, and you're just like, this dude just wanted to write about elves.
Yeah,
I don't think he
That's
really
why
had
it took-
deep undertones.
took 20 some odd years between The Hobbit and Fellowship.
Yeah.
So what I think I'd like to propose is maybe we'll do a like mid-season review.
Oh, I'm down for that.
And then
How many
maybe like an
episodes are
end
in
of
the
season.
season?
I want to say there's 8.
Okay. So
Oh,
how
I thought
about-
it was 10.
How about
There
we
might-
give
there
the
might be 10.
traditional Ranting Media, Neat Trash, we always do it, the 3-episode guide. Everybody,
Okay.
if they're interested in trying it, watch 3 episodes. If by 3 episodes in you made your decision, that's fine. But it really helps not get bored. Like, granted, every once in a while you run into a series where like the first season sucks. Kind of like some people think The Office's first season sucks, or
It doesn't.
It doesn't. There are some great episodes in there, but like you have series similar to that. So I'm gonna give it 3 episodes. We'll figure out what the halfway point is, and the next podcast after that, we'll talk about what we've gone through so far.
Jeff, you are right. There are 8 episodes.
8.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so how
so-
about I'll just watch 4, and
Yeah.
then once we hit that, we'll bring up this discussion again.
Can I ask a question for everybody?
Sure.
And I want to go around the room, and Andrew, I want Andrew to participate in this too. Besides, obviously, the movies and the now TV show Rings of Power, is there anything from the Middle Earth realm, whether it be a video game, whether it be, the books or anything? Is there anything that you're a big fan of that's not the movies or the new TV show?
I'll go last.
Okay,
Andrew, go first.
I was gonna say, who are you asking?
I'm asking
All
everybody.
of us.
Yeah. I actually did really enjoy the Lord of the Rings Risk. It's actually really fun.
It's so good.
Kind of play. The first thing that comes to mind is that like the original Xbox Lord of the Rings game.
Oh, good.
Where, like-
Good
is
choice.
That War of the North?
No, that's Fellowship of the Ring, right?
So yeah,
the movie-based game.
The
like
movie-based
actual
ones.
Follow
Yeah.
the story.
Let me just say, if you haven't played those 3 movie-based games for the Xbox and PS2, those games are bad fucking ass.
they really are. That
They're
one and
really
like
good.
when you do the fight in was it Helm's Deep?
Yes.
right?
Oh, that's Two Towers.
Yeah, it's the Two Towers one.
That's
but
the best one. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I
So
assume
good.
you're talking about the one that came out in 2002.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
It's
which
like
was
third
made by
person.
Sierra.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can't
Oh,
get them
Legends.
anymore because of legal reasons.
Yeah, there are
'cause
several
Valve.
Lord of the Rings games that I want that I will never play again.
Well, wait, are you talking about the one that's based off the movie? Because that would have been EA.
No,
No, not that one. It's
No.
hang on.
I'm looking at it
Oh,
right now
no,
on Wikipedia.
I think it is EA.
Is it?
Yeah.
I
If
think
it's
it is
based-
EA.
If it's based off the movie, like if it had like the voice actors or the actors
did.
from the movie,
Okay, hold
Yes.
on. Hold
then
on.
that's EA.
This is weird. Hold on.
You're
There is
okay.
a game called the official game,
Yes.
and then there isn't one for Fellowship of the Ring. Fellowship of the
No.
Ring was not EA. The other two were.
I thought Fellowship was.
According to this, it was Sierra.
Oh, they must have entered.
There. I'll send you a Wikipedia link if you want to confirm.
Oh, okay.
I know for a fact you're right that EA did majority of them because I remember that was the old
I think I remember
EA Games Challenge Everything intro.
because I think
Everything.
So
if
good.
I'm not mistaken, they also did. I could be wrong. Yes. Okay, this makes much more sense. So they did the Hobbit game,
Right.
and then they also had the rights to the Fellowship. EA finally got the rights by the time Two Towers came out.
Okay. That makes more sense. It did not review well, apparently. The original one. I knew of War of the North was the super popular. I think it was like a real-time RTS, I think. It was like a gauntlet style top-down thing, if I recall correctly.
I was going to talk about Battle for Middle Earth.
That's what I was going to talk
What
about.
is-
Yep.
What is that?
Basically, a real-time strategy.
Oh, god damn it.
Battle for Middle
we fell
Earth 2
for
is,
it.
I think the greatest RTS of all time.
Whoa.
No, it's pretty fucking legit, dude.
Can you eat the Pope?
Well, that's not a real-time
Jeff's game.
strategy. It's not
Oh,
real-time
that's part of
strategy,
your
though.
strategy.
Well, I wouldn't even say it's different.
What about Civilization Revolution?
That's turn-based.
I love it. Yeah, I remember hearing about this. I think I might have played it once.
I remember I actually
beat
picked it up. This is one of the last games that I picked up at GameStop on PC
R.I.P.
because it was like $10.
And you can't buy those games.
No,
You would think they'd be on like GOG or
it's
they're
Origin.
not.
It's because EA lost the license to Lord of the Rings games, and because of that, they can no longer publish them.
Is it because Amazon bought them?
No,
Or
it's just
Amazon
like
owns the rights now?
it just naturally. It's basically like the Harry Potter games for like all of them.
Which were also EA.
Yes, all ever since Sorcerer's Stones, it was EA.
Oh, okay.
They basically just the movies came out, and then eventually they're like, okay, this is all the movies, and we're not going to renew the license because like the movies are out. Like any sales that they would have generated after the fact would have been nominal at best.
Right. Okay.
So that's the reason why.
Jim, what's your favorite piece of media? Not the movies.
So I love Battle for Middle Earth, specifically 2, but I also really liked 1. Two Towers, Endrew mentioned, is fucking fantastic. I remember like beating it and like feeling ultra accomplished. I don't really know why, but I definitely remember that. But there are several musical acts that are 100% centered around Tolkien. There's a black metal band called Grimdor. Very good stuff. There is, of course, the band Blind Guardian, which aren't necessarily all Lord of the Rings anymore, but they have an album called Nightfall in Middle Earth, which is one of the greatest concept albums of all time, and it's all about, and it came out before Peter Jackson made Lord of the Rings and everything like that. Bo Hansen made a prog kind of experimental prog album in the 70s based on Lord of the Rings. That is very interesting. I'm not going to say it's for everybody, but my favorite is there's a band from Germany called Summoning. They are a two-man.
That's a cool name.
They are a two-man black metal band. They have never once played live, and all of their albums are centered around Lord of the Rings or Tolkien. And I also really like the band Cirith Ungol.
Those are all amazing.
All Lord of the Rings, or all Tolkien based.
Interesting. I've already said it a couple times. Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor is probably my favorite piece of media.
I need to play those games.
Oh man!
And they're available to play.
They are on Steam.
Shadow
I have
of Mordor
the first
is
one.
great. I
Shadow
don't really
of War
care.
had problems.
Well,
Yeah.
I think it had a janky launch.
And
it had
also
one of those
a lot
shitty.
Of pay to win.
Yes, but when the definitive or game of the year edition or whatever came out, they got rid of that, and it's all like there.
So for that game, it had the Nemesis system in it, which is the coolest thing ever. And it was supposed to have appeared in a ton of other games, but never did, which made me really sad. Because apparently at one point there was rumors that WB was going to put the Nemesis system in a Batman. And like if you lost to one of the Joker's minions, he would get promoted. And I was like, that's fucking cool. Of course, then we got whatever the hell Gotham Knights. That kind of ruined that. But yeah.
Was that the one that came out on the Wii?
Nope, that's the one that came out just now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I don't remember the one that came out for the Wii, but I know what you're talking about. If it wasn't done by who? Batman. Rocksteady. If it wasn't done by them, it kind of. But yeah, Warner Brothers Monolith, Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor. Play it. I don't think it's canon. I don't think. Geoff might be able to tell me different.
It's an original story. It merges a lot of elements. Like Celebrimbor, obviously, for instance, being
right.
there. It merges a lot of elements that wouldn't be there otherwise. But it definitely is, like, Talion never existed before.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's like those two Lord of Star Wars games.
Path
with Starkiller.
Yeah. Jedi Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
In the Wikipedia page for this game, it says the game has a standalone plot. Early in development, the team consulted Peter Jackson, director of the movies, who advised against the film tie-in. It happens.
So that's actually the other interesting thing about this. Right before the show came out, it was.
I know what you're going to talk about.
It was revealed that they had tried to work with Peter Jackson.
Amazon tried to work with Peter Jackson?
They tried, but what happened when Peter Jackson's like, look, send me the script. Like, I can't make a decision until you send me scripts to work on it. Like, he was just like, I'm not going to do anything until that point. And they just ghosted him. They're like, they never sent him the scripts, and that was the end of that. Eventually Amazon came out and said, hey, due to the legal stuff, like we just couldn't, we weren't able to work with him because of it clashing with the Warner Brothers legal stuff.
So they're saying because he's tied into the Warner Brothers intellectual property version of it, he can't be involved in the other version?
It would be too similar most likely. Like they would be able to like say, oh, they blatantly ripped this off
I am
from.
shocked beyond shock. Bezos did not just buy Warner Brothers to get it over.
So here's the interesting thing, though. There is because the concept artist worked on both properties.
Uh-oh.
It's like what I was telling you about earlier. There's a lot of similarities between this and like if you were to look at it like side by side, I could be like, okay, that's Lord of the Rings for both.
Right.
Like especially the Elven cities, very similar in terms of architecture because it's the same concept artist.
Right.
Um,
Can I jump in a little bit when you're done?
Sure. Just very briefly though, there is a creature that was in the trailer, and I'm not going to reveal which creature it is.
Okay.
That is identical to the creature in one of the movies.
Oh, that's fine.
So that doesn't hold water for me. That whole like, oh, we can't use Peter Jackson because blah blah blah.
Oh, I think they just were like, okay, we don't want you. Or what I think, and this is what I was going to lead with, they have the Tolkien Society's blessing. While Christopher Tolkien, who has been kind of the head of the Tolkien Society, did recently step down, and a lot of people thought, oh, it's because of the deal with Amazon. It's because of this and that. There's no evidence that say that. He's old too. So Simon Tolkien, who's another director at the Tolkien Society, has been working with them as a consultant and has said that he's really enjoyed the process, the respect going into it. So,
well, Christopher's dead. First off, he passed away in 2020.
That's right.
Oh.
So Simon, I think, if we're being honest, Simon is very much like whatever. He's kind of just like
is that? Okay.
That's kind of like that's the best way that I can put it. Like he's there, he respects like he definitely does not hold the same like
reverence.
As
reverence.
Chris.
Oh my goodness, no.
So Chris Tolkien, just to give you a reference, Christopher Tolkien, who was J.R.R. Tolkien's son, was born in 1924.
Holy shit, he's as old as a queen.
Yeah.
He's born in 1924. J.R.R. Tolkien was born in 1892.
That's freaky.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's interesting. Geoff, did you say your favorite piece of media? I'm sorry.
I did.
Okay,
in fact, I'm actually I might be downloading it right now.
I wanted to quickly pick.
Oh, Geoff,
what's up?
Send me that when you're done.
Oh, buddy, I found a whole. So there's a treasure trove. There is an HD mod.
Oh, I do know that there is an HD mod, but I don't know where to find the original.
Oh, I got it.
Thank you.
A version 1.06 ISO, baby. And because I own the original CDs somewhere.
I know where they are. They're at my parents' house. I know exactly where they are.
Illegal, but you know.
I mean, it is a copy of a copy.
Yeah, whatever. I wanted to pivot to something else. I know the Queen and Lord of the Rings has taken up majority of our time. But again, it's something that Endrew.
Oh, you were going to talk about Apple.
Andrew could care less about. Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up. Dynamic Islands.
Andrew, actually, was there anything that you wanted to talk about tonight?
No.
How organized is your computer right now?
I've got stuff going on. Don't worry. I mean, I'm looking.
You're not bored, right?
I'm trying to find like Beat Mania boards right now.
Oh,
dude, they're cheap. I'm telling you, they're not expensive.
No. The DJ Hero.
God damn it. Okay,
Beat Mania
right.
though, different story.
Beat Mania had a better controller. Yes.
You know what's really, really sad?
Huh.
I threw away 2 DJ Hero things less
Oh.
than a year ago,
Oh.
and I didn't even think about it.
Bummer. That's all right.
Ugh. I love that game. I still listen to the soundtracks regularly.
I don't like DJ Hero because I think I don't like the music,
Really?
but I love Beat Mania and I love the music from that. I think for electronic music, and this is 100% my taste in music.
Right.
I think for electronic music, I just like things that are really, really fast. And
Yes.
DJ Hero
was
wasn't.
very slow.
Didn't
Yes.
have the Beat Mania speed.
Yeah.
It was, and if you notice, majority of their songs in DJ Hero had a very specific BPM. It did not
because it's like, oh, Americans are dumb
Right.
and they're slow.
And you use the same Queen song like 6 times. And it made me really hate Another One Bites the Dust. Like, I hated that song for a while.
Somebody
because of that.
posted a meme that said the Queen is dead, and somebody goes, the whole band.
I did want to bring up Apple a little bit.
Island Boys.
Island Boys. Dynamic Island is maybe the stupidest fucking name I've ever fucking heard. For
I mean, the
hole
name,
in the
yes. The name, yes. The actual like software patch thing to get around the fact that they have a notch. All right.
It's
Whatever.
thinking outside the box. I'll give them that.
Like I was watching the MKBHD video about it. And I was like expanding and doing all the crazy things and stuff. I was like, I get it. I dig it. It's not like, first off, just iPhone in general, right? I looked at the iPhones earlier today, and to keep in mind, I still have my 11 Pro Max.
We finally got a
Still happy.
new iPhone, by the way.
I heard.
Oh,
I'm
did
so
you?
Excited.
Which one did she get?
She went from an iPhone 8
Uh-huh.
to an iPhone 12 mini.
Oh my god! What?
What a difference!
I'm not sure that was even a downgrade. I think that was just kind of a side grade.
Yeah,
she's not she couldn't care less, man.
I know.
So I looked at it just because I was curious. I was like, man, because eventually, like, I know I'll have to upgrade. I don't have any issues with my phone now.
Yeah.
But I was like, man, is there truly a difference between? I could not for the life of you tell the difference between the 12, 13, or the 14. I'm just staring at it and I was like, expensive. Did you know that the iPhone 12 and 13 base model are exactly the same price?
Yes.
Why?
Hence why, because we tried to go to T-Mobile and they were like, we have 11s and we have 13s. We have no 12s.
Because 12s aren't for sale really that much anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Why would they be when the 13 is the exact same price?
And they use the 11 as before we had the SE again.
Well, it's kind of like the 8 at this point.
Right.
It's basically like the 8 was the kind of entry level base model for a while.
The 8 stuck around for way longer than it needed to because it had the button still.
Correct.
Which my grandmother absolutely required. I was like,
also
really
still surviving out of spite.
Which is really annoying. Like, they could have taken her instead of the Queen. I really wouldn't have cared. Like, Jesus, man.
Real quick, I mentioned The Fall of Numenor and Other Tales from the Second Age of Middle-earth. That's the new book.
Right.
It comes out November 15th, not this month. I thought it was this month.
Oh, okay. That's still close.
Mm-hmm. And it is obviously it is Tolkien material, just kind of edited and expanded upon by Brian Sibley.
Okay.
Who is a member of the Tolkien Society.
Interesting. Huh. It's they're not like a continuation of the story, correct? It's just like extra stuff.
No. Yeah,
No,
it's basically
it's Second Age material. It's stuff that's canon.
Oh, okay.
It's
It's just like
basically
I have,
scholars putting things together.
yeah. It's like
So they-
Unfinished Tales.
Right.
Unfinished Tales is great, but it's just small stories that he basically came up with the ideas of, and then just never really went anywhere. And then Christopher and some other members of the Tolkien Society kind of just got everything back into it,
Okay.
and tied it all together.
Oh, that makes sense.
There is a hardcover Lord of the Rings special edition that is coming out October 4th. That is $225,
Oof.
but it looks incredible.
Every time a new version of it gets published, we always post it for Geoff, and he thinks about it for way too long.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Remember every different version of all the movies together?
Oh,
We used to just keep posting them in Slack, like, here you go. And he'd be like,
yeah.
it's too expensive. And then he bought one that's too expensive.
Well, no, because I mean, like when it first, like I still stand by the fact that I bought the 4K Lord of the Rings because like it was great, and that was 2 years ago at this point.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I feel like it's been 2 years.
I remember it. I remember when you did that.
But like the Hobbit films went on the same discount, and I for a moment considered buying it, but I was like, nah,
As you
I'm good.
should.
I'm good. Apple though,
Who cares? It's not worth it.
It's
if you own a 12 or 13, don't upgrade.
It's
You
not
own
even.
an
It's
11
not
or
even.
before, sure.
It's not even the upgrade. It's the same thing I've been saying every year for the past, I feel like 5 years now. And this is why whenever David like pops into chat after every Apple event, he's like, "Oh, I want the new one. It looks great. I'm gonna finally fucking whatever." And he never does. He's still like on. I feel like he's on the iPhone 10 still.
No. Remember Morgan bought him one.
Oh yeah, but what is that? The iPhone 11 at this point? Who knows?
No. It was a 13. He's got a 13.
He has a 13.
Okay, well, good for him.
He also has a busted iPad.
USB-C, still not a thing. Not even.
I can't believe that.
Not even.
I cannot believe that.
On the fucking Apple what is the AirPod Pro 2 case? It's still Lightning. Fuck you, Apple. Every year I'm going to say it.
Club,
until you get USB-C on until you get your shit sorted out. Fuck you.
I mean, to be fair, it is USB-C, just on one side.
Oh, Kevin, no. Kevin's like, I'm looking at getting the Ultra Watch. No, Kevin.
Also, isn't the benefit of the Ultra Watch like exercise shit?
You want me to tell you the benefit of the Ultra Watch?
Yeah.
It's to say, hey, look, I got the Ultra Watch.
Yeah, it's. I mean,
Kevin,
I have a Series 4 as well.
I have a Series. I thought you had a Series 3.
Oh, I probably do. I don't know. I haven't worn.
That's the one Alyssa has.
I haven't worn it.
I have a Series 5. I had to legit look today. I had to go into the settings. I had to find the model number. I had to type in the model number into Google and it'd be like, oh, this is Series 5. And I look at the screen. I'm like, oh, they just released a Series 8. Let me see what the differences are.
Nothing.
They added an extra sensor for temperature.
Oh, yeah, so you can track your ovulation.
Yeah, and I was kind of staring at it for a second.
That
I was
seems
like,
helpful for you, right?
I was like, is that it?
Uh-huh.
And then they're like, oh, we added a second generation optical sensor for the. I just checked out. I was like, no.
So always on display is cool. That's been a.
When did I get always on display?
I was about to say
2017.
No, I had always on display on like a S3. Or
you got to keep in mind, I was brainwashed until 2017.
We flipped. That's right. I was the Android diehard for a long time, and then I was like,
my first Android. Yep,
sure.
My first Android was Pixel 2 XL, and yeah, always on.
Pixel 2 XL was your first.
He's saying that his is kind of messed up. So you're gonna upgrade to the most overkill watch in that lineup.
How much
It's
is it?
$800. It's $800.
That
That's
fucking
as much
watch
as-
better
that's
milk
my
his
laptop.
prostate.
That
That's
watch
my
is
laptop.
$800.
That's $200 more expensive than my laptop.
And mine
So-
can do porn.
Conversely, though, no, Kevin, it is. I'm sorry for what. For first off, you don't dive, as far as I know.
He floats naturally.
No, Hermé is the most overkill one. Whatever.
Hermes.
But like if you look at the Series 8 versus the Ultra, it's half the cost, and the feature set is not that much different. Like obviously the materials are different. I want to say the Ultra is titanium.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's titanium.
Ooh.
It has a 36-hour battery life,
Ooh.
and
Not even
it's
GPS? Oh, yes. Okay.
it has dual frequency GPS. Todd.
Does it have cellular?
And then it's
Do these not come with cellular?
I think it does.
Uh,
But it's also a sapphire screen, if I'm not mistaken. And
like-
no, Kevin, it literally says on the screen Apple Watch Series 8 from $399.99. Not $499. $399.99.
The mental gymnastics that Apple
people
folks do
yeah.
is my favorite. It's like and I'm not trying to make this political. It's like watching like MAGA people like jump through hoops to defend people that are on this that side.
Now, I love my Apple Watch whenever I wore it. But I've also like tried to stray to other brands to see if I could like live with it. I had a Fossil watch for a while, like one of the Fossil smartwatches. I really liked it. It just didn't do it for me in terms of connectivity because I was on iPhone.
I have a Fossil watch. It's not a
You have a-
smartwatch, but it's
I'll say
So I will say, out of all the smartwatches I've ever owned, which is
Apple Watch is the best.
the Pebble,
oh
the Moto 360, and I want to say Apple Watch was the next one after that.
For you,
Even
yeah.
a Series 3 on Android, which remember doesn't really work the same way as it does on an iPhone,
Right.
was still better than a Moto 360.
the Apple Watch. I don't think any Android user would disagree that like the Apple Watch isn't a great
Right.
product.
Pebble,
We just
though.
are not in that ecosystem,
I missed the Pebble. That was the best.
And again, Google could fucking do it, but they're just
They
not.
own
Well, I mean,
Pebble.
we'll see. We'll see.
They own Pebble.
That's what I'm saying. I know.
Wait, I might be wrong.
No, they own
Fitbit
Fitbit
owns Pebble.
purchased
That's what-
Pebble. Yeah.
And then Google purchased Fitbit.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah.
So
Yes.
they own Pebble.
And the Pebble watch with the color screen, was the best.
I mean,
Um,
Kevin, I get it. I get it that you've had it for 5 years.
Shut
If
up,
it's
Kevin.
not working for you, that's fine. I am stupid because I literally purchased Apple Care Plus whenever these things released. It was the 11 Pro Max and the iPhone or the Apple Watch Series 5.
Uh-huh.
I have been paying for Apple Care Plus since those launched. I am still paying it today. In fact, it pulled out of my account today.
Have you considered canceling?
Have I considered canceling it? Yes, but God only knows.
You will break it
Ed,
the
The
next day.
moment that happens, I'm gonna be like, oh no, I gotta pay $1,000 for a new phone.
what was
Like,
Andrew? You may remember what was. So Ed had the Pebble and loved it. What was the Fitbit that we all really liked?
Aria.
What was the Blaze?
Yeah, that was the first like suit. Well,
The
second
Blaze,
really
and that
popular
thing
one.
was badass.
wow, this is actually a good deal. Apple Watch Nike Series 7 GPS plus cellular,
Uh-huh.
41 millimeter
Uh-huh.
case were $379.
Oh, really not bad at all. They still make the Blaze. Jim, do you want to
They
buy
do?
a Blaze? Yeah.
Like new?
Yeah. Yeah. How much?
Oh,
It doesn't tell me.
41 millimeter is tiny. What? Oh, fucking.
Oh yeah, Geoff has
goddamn.
fat fucking wrists, so he can't do anything.
There's
Yeah, but
real
like
quick,
the 45 millimeter is 409. Like that's still a good deal.
there's a song I like. This is so out of left field. There's a song I like by Lil Wayne, called John, and it has Rick Ross on it,
Okay.
and it's a good song. And you said Nike watch, and it made me think of it. But for the longest time, there's a line where Rick Ross says, "Shoes on the coupe, bitch. I got a Nike shop." Like,
Right.
I thought he said, "Bitch, I got a Nike watch," and that shit makes me laugh every time I hear something about a Nike watch. I'm sorry, it's so specific to me, but
Like I think at this point, like, cause I have the aluminum case on mine.
Say it correctly.
Aluminium.
Thank you.
respect the
Ew.
queen.
Boo, boo. They have a series 5 on here with the stainless steel for $449. Obviously,
Right.
that'd be stupid to try to upgrade to.
A 5 whenever 8 just came out.
Well, no, because I have a 5 right now.
Oh, that's right. You already have.
But I have the aluminium version. I'd still upgrade to the aluminium version. Or I don't know.
350.
It's just like every year, it just keeps working just as it has been. Like I'll tell you what'll happen when they eventually announce that like there is no more update for it, or it just completely fails. That's when I'll probably upgrade.
Yeah, makes sense.
I mean, like once the battery like is just not charging anymore, then I'll be like, all right, now it's given up the ghost.
Jim, would you buy a Fitbit Blaze for $400?
Fuck no.
Why is it cost so much still?
Because I don't think they make those still.
The year of our Lord 2022, it should not be that expensive.
Now, Kevin, if you're trying to justify the purchase of a new watch, that's fine. Do I think that you buying the Ultra makes sense? No, I don't.
He's just
like
I
would.
I love being fancy.
I mean, I think it looks okay.
The fanciest of wings.
I do think it's a little disappointing that the new phones have the satellite like
that's cool.
I need help thing.
Yeah.
But the watch that's touted for people that are like diving or they're out in the wilderness or they're doing like all sorts of like, because that's what that watch is for. It's for people who are in rugged environments, maybe without cell phone service. It'd be kind of a cool if they had included the Kevin's saying it does include it. Let me double check that because I don't recall seeing that was actually the case. Go into Apple Watch Ultra.
Sorry, I'm on Reddit reading about
Explore
the
Ultra
Queen.
Watch.
And one of the top comments on the post where they're like, the Queen has passed away. The top comment is, I really expected her to outlive Charles by 5 minutes just out of pure spite.
Seriously.
Oh, sad. It's
Quick
really weird to see Reddit
button.
not logged in to see what the webs see.
Side button 3 mocha.
Fun fact: Queen Elizabeth II was the longest-serving monarch in British history and never saw Texas A&M win a national championship. Damn it!
That's hilarious.
Fucking
that's
football.
funny.
I'm so glad the NFL and college football is back. Holy
Bills
shit.
won tonight. I'm cool with that.
They won big.
Yeah, they dunked on them.
I think it's because of their biggest fan,
MJF, man. It's because of MJF. Oh, sorry, Jeff.
Andrew,
Wait, what did you say?
Do you-
I'm trying to prove Kevin wrong.
we made a wrestling reference.
and we're
Oh.
gonna
I
make
understood it.
another. Andrew understood it. Do you think that Mr. Charles Manson Punk will return?
somebody
Honestly,
said-
with all
somebody
the
said-
drama, I kind of don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty fucking over it too.
I was like,
so,
what is this, high school?
Here's what I think is going on. I truly think here is what they proposed CM Punk do. Tony Khan could have fired him,
Right.
okay? And then you have, CM Punk gets fired, a year after coming back, making his giant fucking comeback.
Right.
Or they're like, all right, you're hurt. You're going to relinquish the title. You're going to go out with an injury, all right, and be suspended, quote unquote. You can announce your retirement. I don't think he was ever going to come back.
Interesting take.
I think he will never come back to AEW.
Let's
Kevin
check on the
did
results.
acknowledge the
Yes,
Ultra
I saw that.
does not have the satellite.
Which apparently you have
features.
to aim. You have to aim it correctly, but it guides you to do that, which is cool.
Right on the phone, yes, but what I'm saying is,
No, on
it's
the
like
watch as well.
no, it's not. It's not on the
sorry,
watch.
sorry. Other way around. Sorry.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Like, I think that's a missed feature. That if for a watch that's supposed to be like, oh, we're in the fucking middle of nowhere, and because people are like, well, it's got cell service. I was like, do you realize that you could still go in the middle of nowhere and not have cell service?
Right.
Like, that's still a thing that happens.
I don't have cell service down the street. Like, that's
well,
serious.
I will tell
I don't
you-
have cell service in my own apartment.
I will tell you that it was probably one of the, I wouldn't say it's like the scariest moments of my life, but it was definitely like an intense period. We were we went to Smithville and we got like a cabin on like a ranch.
Mhm.
And we decided, hey, we're just gonna trek out onto a trail. And all of a sudden it just starts pouring down rain.
Oh,
And it's lightning, and we're in the middle of a field. And we're like, okay, well, surely this trail will, take us, like, it loops back around. Typically trails will loop back around. And I'm in the middle of this field, and I literally pull up Google Maps, try to find something, and it just shows X for cell service, which is a bad sign. Because if you didn't download, like, you can download Google Maps
offline, yeah.
offline if you did that in advance. But if you're in the middle of nowhere with no cell service, all of a sudden it's just like there's nothing there. So we're just like literally like, do we go forward or do we go back? And eventually we were like, we just have to go back. So we literally went all the way back the path that we came, soaked the entire time because I'm wearing jeans. And it was scary because like there's lightning flashing all around, and you could get struck by lightning and blah blah blah. But like more importantly, we weren't sure if we're gonna be able to find the trail all the way back to the cabin because it wasn't clearly marked. So that is why satellite stuff would be really cool to have.
Yeah, I agree. I was, as you were talking about that, I just thought about, I lived for 2 years of my life without even 3G cell service by choice.
Fucking Edge.
Yeah, I had a G1 and I rooted it and put it on and unlocked it and put it on AT&T, which did not support T-Mobile's 3G. So I suffered for a while. But that's how I got my nerd cred with Android.
As far as I know, Kevin, the car crash detection is also on the Series 8.
Fucking
Yes.
Apple Watches.
I mean, listen, it's the same event every year. There's nothing earth shattering about it. Um,
I'm kind of
I
sad
mean,
that the Queen messed up Splatoon launch day.
I
Did
fucking
that game come
saw
out
that.
today?
Splatoon 3.
God, I saw that and I was just like, oh, the Queen, how the Queen messed up the Splatoon 3 meta. I was like, fucking wow. I was so sorry.
Queen's dying words. I'm sorry.
Splatoon 3.
Splatoon love.
Don't use the roller. That's not
Bleh.
We're bad people.
I've seen the memes that have been the most funny to me have been like all the ones of like women fighting, and it's just been like Diana once the Queen gets up there.
Oh my god.
I
Fucking
think
ridiculous.
on that note of getting
Yeah.
Geoff sent away from his British Isles, we should probably end it. Geoff, wrap it up.
Thank you all for tuning in tonight. We are officially at nearly the 2-hour mark.
The
So
best time.
I feel like it's been a pretty good podcast. An hour and 34
Pretty short
minutes of
episode
that.
for us, yeah.
Hour 34 minutes of that. Rings of Power.
Oh.
Never would have thought that would have happened. Andrew,
I think
I'm so
a lot
sorry.
of it was us just talking about Tolkien too.
I feel like Andrew just literally came on the podcast and he's like, I'm here to support my friends. And we appreciate
This is how
you.
he got his like he got like just, hey, I need to do this podcast, but really it was just like some alone time for him.
Please don't stop. She listens, okay? Don't.
He's like, I gotta hang out with my
Papa.
He's like, I gotta hang out with my boys. Anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in. Next week we'll resume some sort of interesting programming. I probably will not be doing the Wednesday stream.
I won't be in town either, so
I will stream on Wednesday.
I appreciate that.
I'll
watch with you in spirit.
Oh, hey, if you give me that game, I'll stream that game.
Oh, wait, Todd.
Hello.
We need to figure out when to give you your fucking cable ties at this point.
It's never gonna happen at this point.
The holiday party, Ranting Media. Actually, Extra Life meeting
party.
Yep, there we go. All right. Anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in. Y'all have a great night and stay.
Before we go, Jim, tell them where people can find you.
Instagram.com/Sounds of the Void. Separate those words with underscores.
Andrew, where can we find you?
I stream on my personal channel at twitch.tv/Endrew We Trust every Friday and Saturday at 9 p.m. Central Time.
Oh, dude, by the way, congrats. You're almost at 80 already.
It's crazy. And then Ranting Media, we got
we just hit
101. Yeah.
84 years later.
Yeah, to be fair, I think I made this channel in 2016 and then didn't use it for 3 years. And then
I mean, for a good, what I feel like 8 months, it felt like Endrew was making it happen.
I mean, Endrew still carries it. The Monday streams
of course.
are the most consistent thing we have. And I'll be upset whenever he takes them away to his own.
I'd say the Wednesday stream has a close second. It's pretty consistent. I make it pretty much every time.
It's just sadness watching us fail at Apex.
No, it's sad for you because we don't always do so hot in Apex. And we do it for a couple warm-up matches, and then eventually we just get depressed. It's a depressive spiral.
We do 8 warm-up matches, and then we are warmed up to lose more. We do Wednesday streams. Sometimes we do Thursday streams.
I have done a Thursday stream every other week, just so y'all know.
Right. So every other week that we're not doing a podcast, Jim is doing a Thursday stream. Friday, Saturday, go support Endrew. Is it Tuesday, Sunday for Cat?
Sundays and Tuesdays for Cat, yeah. And
that's right. Tuesday, Sundays, twitch.tv/artfullyarasai. I'm not going to spell it because I will forget. Thank you all, everybody, for listening.
Stay beautiful.
Stay discussing. Scissor me, daddy.
Oh my god. Ugh.